to make the scatter plot that you're going to include, remember we already talked about the fact that if you do like an X and a Y, we want volume in milliliters to be in the X column, and then mass. And I'm going to separate this. First, you did aluminum, right, by grams. So let's just pretend for a second that if you had 5 milliliters, that's 6 grams. And if you had 10 milliliters, that's 12 grams. And if you had 15 milliliters, let's make that 17 grams. So like it doesn't go like perfectly, but it's pretty close. All right, so if you're trying to graph this, it's pretty easy. You just highlight the section you want, and then you insert chart. But you have 2 sets of data, right? So you have the aluminum, and you also have the plastic, so mass of whatever you're using. Let's just say you did the purple one in grams. So we're going to sort of like trick the computer into only graphing the points for the series that we want. So first you insert your volume and mass of the aluminum, and then let's say you did it for your colored cylinder also. So if we have a volume of 6 and a mass of 6, and then a volume of 12 with a mass of 12. So when we're asking the computer to graph these ordered pairs, here's the X value and here's the Y value, X and Y. And now this is a separate Y column. So here's the X column and here's the Y column for the plastic. So we're just going to try to like trick the computer into doing what we want it to do. So if you set your data table up like this, when you highlight the sections that you want to include, you go to Insert Chart. Now, is this the kind of graph we want?
No.
So you can change it by clicking on Chart Type. And what do we want?
Scatter.
So scatter plot, there it is. So now look, the graph exists, and if you set the headings up correctly, it puts those in the legend for you automatically. There's still some things that we need to fix. So every graph needs a title. It needs the labels of each axis, correct? And it also needs the units in the axis. All right, so you can add titles here. So if you want to do the chart title, that's where you do it. So let's start with the horizontal axis. So what is being measured down here? So what did we say is on the X column? Volume, right? So volume in milliliters. So those go there. What did we say is being measured on the vertical column? That's mass, being measured in grams. So that should show up there. So when we do a title for a graph, the format for doing a title is always the name of the y-axis versus the name of the x-axis. So you can say mass versus volume. And then that will show up here. The last thing we need is to put a trend line on. So to do that, that should be in this button where it says series. So you can add a trend line, and then it will put a line of best fit in the data you are looking at. So we have these 2 different sets of data, the aluminum data and the purple plastic data. Now it's a little bit misleading because it looks like the axis, the intercept, is like around 5. So one thing that will be helpful is if we put the equation in. So go ahead and in the series option tab still, we still want to, for the label, we want to use equation. So now we have the equation. We have the slope of the line times x plus the intercept. Okay, so if you set it up this way, so if you set your data table up, insert your chart, then you can add these customizations for it, label the axes, label the title, add a trend line, and use the equation.